Oh, I'm doing this one on Monday, so I'm about a day behind. So we're going to look at Chapter 17, Agency, and a whole new way of looking at things now. An agency is a relationship where one party, which is called the principal, gives the authority to another party, who is called an agent, to act on their behalf. There are other words associated with this, and fiduciary has two meanings. The first is as a noun. It's a person having a duty created by his or her undertaking to act primarily for another's benefit. That's directly out of the book. The other one, definition is as an adjective, and that's mainly what we're looking at here, is a relationship found on trust and confidence, and that's what the principal and the agent have to have, a relationship based on trust. Power of attorney is a paper that is drawn up by an attorney, imagine that allows one person to control another person's affairs. They can sign documents and carry out financial matters for that other person. A respondent, I spelled it wrong. Oh my. How's that? It's still going to be spelled wrong because sometimes it's also spelled with an N, folks. This is respondeat superior is a doctrine under which a principal or somebody who's given their authority to an agent is held liable for the wrongful acts committed. It's sort of like let the master be responsible type, and there are certain conditions that have to be met for that. Vicarious liability, isn't that a great word? Vicarious liability is an indirect liability imposed on the, let's say, the principal for the actions of an agent or a subordinate, because there's just simply a relationship between the two, and it kind of flows up the actions of the employee or the agent. And we have a really interesting word, permalancers, which is a fancy way of saying contractors. Let's see if we don't have the exact definition here, but a permalancer is usually a contractor, an outside person that you hire. So those are the new words we're going to be dealing with. And I'm not sure if we're going to make this in, it's probably going to be 2 lectures. The top half is going to be part 1, and the bottom half here will be part 2. So let's see how far we get with this. We have something called an agency relationship, and that we talked about that up here. We talked about an agent acts on the behalf of a principal, and the principal gives that agent authority with trust to act on their behalf. Usually the agent is subject to the control of the principal, so what the agent would attempt to do within the task would be subject to the control of the principal, and the principal has to give consent for what the agent is doing. An independent contractor, which is also a permalancer, may or may not be an agent. It kind of depends on the control of the actions. If I contract somebody to build a house for me, I pretty well say, here, build the house. I'm not going to control your actions and tell you what to do every day. In that case, there really isn't an agency. The contractor is acting on their own, and they will make all of the decisions, in most cases for the actual construction, and I won't. So that's an example. And the third party, that's the other person in this exchange, is you have the agent, you have the principal, and the agent works with the third party. to work out a transaction or to work out an agreement. The transaction involves only the principal and the third party. The agent is removed from that. So examples of an agency relationship would be employers and employees, sometimes employers and contractors, or sometimes you will hire a lawyer to work as your agent, or how about a real estate agent working with you? So those are some examples of an agency relationship. So how do we form an agency? Well, kind of looks like a contract here. Okay, first you have to have an agreement, and it can be expressed or implied. Expressed is either orally defined or written. It has to be ratified or ratification. The principal, meaning the principal has to affirm that. We can have an estoppel, which means there has to just simply be the appearance of a relationship. And there is a relationship of law or emergency, such as if you get harmed and there's nobody there to... I thought I had to cough. I went away for a while. An operation of law is an emergency. If you get hit, or if you get hurt and you're in the emergency room and there's nobody to sign the papers for you to allow emergency services, that might be an example of operation of the law. Then you have to look at the agent's authority in this issue. Again, you have expressed authority. It's either oral or written. You have implied authority, which is what has been the custom or the tradition or the operation of the relationship prior to the present. You have apparent authority. Does this look familiar? And that is, you have the appearance of a relationship, and sometimes that will stand up in court. And then again, you have the ratification, which means if the principal says, yes, they were working for me or making an agreement for me, then it is an agency relationship. So one kind of wraps it up. Again, it looks an awful lot like contract law, doesn't it? Let's look at the duties of the agents and the principals. An agent is going to have to perform as promised. They're going to have to notify the principal of any changes or of any decisions they may make that may need the principal's input. They should be loyal. Again, that goes back to that fiduciary, and they should be loyal, should be able to be trusted. They should follow instructions, and they should record and keep proper record of any of the transactions that they incur on the principal's part. For the principal's duties, there has to be a compensation, reimbursement of expenses, cooperation and assistance. There has to be a relationship there where they support each other and the principal would support the agent. And there should be safe working conditions, which is obvious. And it looks like we need a question to end out this part of the lecture. There may be two questions there. I see two question marks. So I will talk to you in the next part of the lecture. Part 2 will involve criteria for employment status, the liability in an agency, and terminating an agency relationship.